guys, welcome back to Feast or Famine with the Youngs.
We are the Youngs.
I'm Veronica.
I'm Alex. You should probably know this by now.
Yes, but in case you're new, that's important to note.
New people, thank you for watching.
Yes.
I'm sorry if we disappoint.
What?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh. It's been a day, guys. We are here filming and we've already filmed a podcast. I have a migraine, so bear with me, but you know, the show must go on. So we are here and we were doing it. I'm powering through, drinking lots of water, lots of ibuprofen.
You're not drinking ibuprofen, are you?
No.
Okay.
Not drinking it.
Okay.
Anyway,
what's on the docket today?
What's on the docket today? We are going to talk about our wedding. So
when we got married back in the day.
Yeah. So we get this question a lot because of our jobs, obviously. Who did you hire for a wedding photographer? What was your wedding like? All the questions.
But we also get, it's not really asked of us, but if somebody, like we're talking to a couple that's getting married and they make a comment that kind of alludes to what we did, we're like, pump the brakes. Hear my story.
Hear me story.
Hear my story.
Oh my God.
And then think about that when you're planning yours. Don't make our mistakes. So I guess that's the name of this podcast, is don't make the same mistakes we did.
Yeah, because there are a lot of mistakes that we made when it came to our wedding.
We were not in the wedding industry.
Let's just go ahead and start there. Alex and I were not in the wedding industry. Now, Alex was already a filmmaker.
I was a filmmaker and I was doing commercial corporate stuff. Mm-hmm. But that was really the extent of it. I didn't have any desire. Like I said in our first episode, I had no desire to do weddings.
And was that more of like, when we got married, you weren't super far into that, like, video world, were you? It was relatively...
It had been a few years.
I was like 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're just going to kind of like blab about our wedding. We thought it's relevant to our story, why we love our jobs so much. And then also it kind of gives us a unique aspect to help our clients because we know what not to do. And now being in the industry, we know the right choices to make a lot of the times. So everybody's wedding is different. Not everything is right for everybody, but a lot of the things that we're going to talk about, it's the things that
you should not do.
You should not do. So our biggest mistake ever is what?
Man, this is going to shock people.
This is
shocking story. I should do like breaking news. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. We did not hire a professional wedding photographer.
No. We hired a family friend.
We also did not hire a videographer. I was in video already at the time. Like I was working in that industry. We didn't even hire somebody to film it and just give me the footage.
And I remember vaguely having a conversation with you about, hey, what if we have someone come and just film it? And why do I want to say it was Cottrell?
It was Benji.
Benji? Okay.
Benji.
His friend Benji.
I just never followed up.
We had the conversation, hey, let's have him come and just film the ceremony. Mm-hmm. So at least we have that. And I guess for whatever reason,
it dropped off our minds.
It just, in the midst of the busyness of the wedding planning, like it just wasn't a priority for us. Huge mistake.
Yep. That's probably one of the biggest is I wish we had video. We have photos, some.
Yeah. And listen, I'm not going to get sappy on here, so I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it quick. I wish that we had video so bad so I could see my dad again, like moving in action. I have no videos of him. And it makes me so, so sad. I have photos that are fine. They're fine. At least I have them from our wedding, and some of them are decent. So I'm thankful for that, but I really wish I had like footage of my dad giving me away. That was like the only thing I even cared about other than marrying you, was the fact that my dad could give me away.
Right. And we, to preface it, we did get some photos that were good.
Yes.
Some.
And also, I just want to say the family friend that we did have do our wedding, we love dearly. We love them so much. And he is more of like a novelist photographer.
He's a hobbyist.
A hobbyist, thank you.
He doesn't do it full time.
Yeah. And I just didn't educate myself on what I even wanted. It's hard to explain because I didn't even know anything about photography, what wedding photography was supposed to look like,
how much it was supposed to cost,
what we were supposed to do. Like, I had absolutely no idea. And so not only did we not hire professionals in the actual industry, we didn't do our research either on anything.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah. Like, I think on the day of, in between ceremony and reception, we went to go take photos. And I think that we spent 15 minutes on bride and groom portraits.
This is a little longer than that.
A lot of it was walking. Like walking from one spot to another.
Yeah.
Because we probably have, like, I would say we probably have 15 to 20 images of just us. And let me put that into perspective. 15 to 20 images of just the bride and groom, I give probably 80 to 150, sometimes more if I get more time, photos of just the bride and groom. Right. And I think that we got a total of like 150 pictures.
Like total.
Yeah.
Also, your comment about in between brings up a topic that we haven't even talked about ever. We had way too much time for our guests in between the ceremony and the reception.
Yeah, we had
and we
so much
didn't
time.
have a cocktail hour.
No. What? No.
So basically our wedding ceremony was over and then we're like, all right, go do something for a little while we go do our thing and party in the bus. And then we show up and that's a big no-no in my book. If you can avoid the gap in between being excessively long without a cocktail hour.
Yeah.
If you're going to have a cocktail hour, great.
Your guests are going to be happy. That's totally fine.
That'll be fine.
Yeah.
But we didn't have either.
Yeah.
We had too long of a break and no cocktail hour.
You know, like a negative, you always follow up with positive. A positive thing that we did do was we had a party bus. And that party bus was so fun.
Oh,
we have pictures of like phone pictures that are, I cherish. It was so much fun.
The party bus was great. Yeah. But I feel like the party bus is always great. And it's not always documented, but maybe for a good reason.
Yeah. I mean, for me, and I feel like this is an unpopular opinion, but when our couples want us to come on the party bus, I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's so much fun. One, I don't have to drive. Hello, thank you. And two, I'm being included, which makes me feel super special.
Makes you feel included.
And, well, yeah. And also, it's just a little different fun aspect that you get to capture things that wouldn't have otherwise been captured. And it's always a good time.
Sometimes logistically, though, even though they'd asked us to be on the bus, we logistically can't because we're in two separate spots. We don't really have time to park in one spot and then figure out how to get to the starting point. It's just logistically doesn't work. But anytime we are able to, we will.
We will. I love it. It's so fun.
Party bus is great.
What's another thing that we did wrong, babe?
Let's talk about our theme.
Oh my God. Freaking like St. Patrick's Day, right?
We were like an Irish flag.
Yes. Orange and green.
And not just like...
Not like a pretty burnt orange or muted orange and like a sage green. No, honey.
It was straight up green and straight up orange.
Straight up green grass and like an orange dreamsicle. And do you know why?
Tasty though.
Because we had this conversation of like, what are our colors going to be? And I did have Pinterest. I had a Pinterest board, but I was not the Pinteresty. Well, I don't know if that's a word.
Pinner, penny.
A pinner.
A pinner.
I don't know. I did not do Pinterest the way that I do it now. Now I can scroll for hours and I actually have intention behind what I'm looking for and searching. I had no idea what I was doing. And I wasn't super into Pinterest at that point. So when the conversation of colors came up, we were like, well, duh, it just makes the most sense to pick our favorite colors, right? And we'll make it work.
Which, let's talk about our favorite colors for a second. What's your favorite color right now?
Black. What's your favorite color right now?
Black.
And like tans.
Yeah, neutrals.
But back then mine was green.
Who were we?
I have no idea. We are totally
Should I
different
post
people.
like a picture like on this so that it makes people want to go and actually watch the YouTube version?
Maybe.
I'm going to put a picture up. So if, right now, I'm going to picture right here, right there, of our colors.
So it could have been worse. Like I could have done, I don't want to offend anybody, so I don't want to give any other examples, but it could have been worse. Also,
It was pretty bad though.
it was pretty bad though. Yeah. I think now, like, so.
Here's a positive about the clothing and everything we wore.
What?
Chris, my brother, has a
Oh.
humongous beard. That was a positive.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. I think people are probably like, what does that have to do with anything?
So we,
Veronica had a binder
yeah,
that had all of the information for our wedding. So we had that. I mean,
we had a wedding binder.
a wedding binder, but we didn't know how to use it.
Yeah.
So Veronica had the bow ties. She had one of the bow ties to match the color in this binder.
What I was matching it to, I have no idea.
So we got to the wedding day and we provided the bow ties for everybody. And one of them was still in the binder
One of them was missing.
at home.
Yeah.
So my brother Brad was the last one to get dressed. And no.
Brad was the last one to get dressed, so he didn't have a bow tie.
So
and
he had bow
Christopher
ties. So
has
Chris had his bow tie on. And we're just like, okay, well, how can we fix this? And I look at Chris and I'm like, do you have your bow tie on? And he lifts up his beard and I'm like, take your bow tie off. You don't need a bow tie. Nobody can see it.
I wouldn't have known that unless somebody had told me. Like, that's how well it played out. And I think that's like the worst thing that happened during our wedding day, which is
But it's a
not
fun story.
That is a fun story. So yeah, colors were horrendous. Ugh. What I was going to say is that I have a Pinterest board now of like a vow renewal board because we just want to redo it.
We want to redo, yeah.
And it's going to be classy. No orange, no green.
And after 2020, I'm kind of leaning toward the very intimate. Like,
Oh yeah.
not that many people. I know my family's pretty large, so there will be that
Yeah,
many people.
we're like an immediate 15 people.
like right off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah. So another mistake that we made, and this is like an opinion kind of based mistake, is we did faux flowers.
There is some merit to doing fake flowers, and now there are some. We got married 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And a
2014.
lot has changed in 6 years and improved significantly. There are some really good fake flowers. We just did a wedding in December that they were fake, weren't they?
Yeah.
I had no idea they were fake.
Yeah.
Until I actually
It's
touched
like
them.
those, there's like silk and they look super real. So sometimes also, I think, well, for us, when we were going through it, trying to make that decision, it was a budgetary decision.
It is cheaper, yeah.
It is sometimes. It depends on where you're going. One, if you're going to a florist for the fake florals, and then which florist you're going to, for the real flowers. But sometimes the fake florals turn out to be more. So, and I didn't know that. Like, none of us knew that. And the florist that we were going to, whether it was going to be real or fake, from the vendor, the fake ones were going to be a little bit cheaper, which is why we did that. But when you're looking at the options across the board, sometimes the fake ones are more expensive.
And there are ways to cut that budget with real flowers too. And your florist should be able to help you with that and make your
substitute out flowers that are cheaper than ones
or
that,
like multi-purpose use flowers for the ceremony and the reception and all that stuff.
And that's something that we never even thought about.
Right.
Was like, hey, we're going to use the flowers for ceremony, for reception tables or something like that. We had no idea that could even be a thing.
Or instead of putting bouquets on the head table, you put bouquets on centerpiece tables.
Yeah, like no idea. So my mindset behind wanting to have the fake flowers was like, okay, we're going to get a house after we get married and
Put them all in
and
a jar or something.
I get to decorate, and I get to like put them on a jar. They're going to sit right in the middle of my kitchen table.
Nope. They're in a box in our basement. I don't even know where they're at.
I honestly don't even know if I have it still. I'm sure that I do. I'm sure it's in a box somewhere. But our colors were green and orange. That thing is hideous. Like, there's no way I'm putting it back out for like, I mean, I just, call me mean or whatever you want to do. I'm not sentimental towards my bouquet. I'm just not. Some people are, which is why if you have that sentimental feeling towards your flowers or something like that, which nowadays I feel like is way more common. Whenever we do our vow renewal, I'm going to be emotionally invested into my flowers because I'm a photographer and now I love photographing florals. And I love the way that they can transform a space, all that good stuff. So my mindset has shifted, but, with that, you get to do other things to preserve your bouquet. I mean, I have seen our brides get paintings done of their bouquet. I've seen them pressed. I've seen them put into like these acrylic squares that you can like put on a coffee table or like even hang on your wall, and it's pressed in there. It's like there's so many other options that you can do with your real flowers now that is really, really cool.
So florals. So
that was like a rant, but like
so far, I feel like we have hit every single piece.
Yeah.
So let's talk about our wedding venue. How do you feel about our wedding venue?
So we got married in a church that we do not attend.
A chapel of a church. So the church itself has a big stage and a wide space.
It was
so we got married in the chapel, which felt more like a wedding space.
So for me, and we're Christians, if you didn't know that. So I'm not going to get super preachy, but it was really important to me at that time that I got married in a church. I felt like in that time in my life and in my walk with God, I felt like I needed to be in a church for the Lord to be there with us on our day. My mindset has changed with that. The Lord is everywhere. He's here right now. But
that also opened up another can of issues because we also had a friend of ours marrying us.
Yes.
So a lot of churches
would not let us bring in our own pastor.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was a huge, so then we were just on the hunt for
anyone
trying to find a chapel that would let us bring in our own minister. Because not getting married in a church was not an option for me. So we picked one that is fine. It's not the worst looking.
I literally only had one complaint about that space. And it was at the time we did family formals.
It was dark.
No, there was a humongous like sun shadow from the window across the stage.
Oh, well now it doesn't fit our vibe like at all. Like the space is tan. It has, I think, some like red paintings on the pillars, and
that's the only real complaint I had about that.
Yeah. It was overall,
we couldn't really, we could have controlled it a little bit, but
I think at that point we were like tired of looking at so many spaces. We were like, we just need a space where we can actually get married in a church.
Right.
So we found one in St. Charles, and our friend was able to marry us, and
we were his first wedding.
Yeah.
Justin.
Yeah. And that was something that we did right, was having someone that is important to us, someone that we know, someone we have a relationship with, marry us.
You don't have to do that, but I mean, it felt special to me. And to give it a little backstory without going too deep into it, him and I were really close when Veronica and I met, and we were talking one day, and he's a worship pastor and a youth minister now, but at the time he wasn't both of those yet. He was doing worship only, I think. But we were just talking, and he goes, "Hey, when you and Veronica get married," and literally we hadn't even been dating very long at the time. He just said, when you guys get married, I'm going to marry you. I said, all right. And that was the conversation.
Yeah. So
when we finally got engaged, he actually was there when I engaged, when I proposed. So then I'm like, let's have Justin do it. Cause I already told him.
Yeah.
So several years ago, he was going to do it anyway.
It was such a good decision. I don't regret that at all.
He made the ceremony like
really fun. Yeah. And it felt, standing on stage in front of a lot of people, is nerve-wracking. And standing up there with you and then also Justin made me feel just a little more comfortable. Like I wasn't just the only one being stared at. I was up there amongst all my friends.
Another thing we did right. The unplug ceremony.
Oh yeah.
Is always a struggle because even though you want to you put signs up and say the unplug ceremony, whatever, people are going to bring their phones out. Mm-hmm. Well, Justin and I we didn't talk to Veronica about this because we didn't think she would have gone for this, but it ended up being.
I liked it.
It was awesome. So before he did anything else, Justin said, we had a hashtag board. So he said, all right, so everybody, before we get started, get your phone out. You saw the hashtag. Take a selfie with the people around you. Post it and use the hashtag. Waited a second, let everybody do that. Then he said, all right, now that you have your phones in your hands, turn them on silent and put them away.
Yeah.
And don't bring them back out.
It was a really clever way to get people to not be on their phones.
Without being like distracting about it.
Yeah. It was fun. And we actually, like, he took a selfie with us up there at the altar.
And we still have that.
It's a really cute photo. Yeah.
I'll post that one too, if I can find it.
So next thing that is also, an opinion-based regret, is that we didn't do a first look.
Were we both against it?
I think so.
We didn't. Traditionally, it wasn't right. You're not supposed to see each other beforehand. But literally as fast as that day went.
I don't even know if it was an option that we talked about.
We didn't.
Like, I don't know if we were educated on that.
We wanted to pray with each other before.
I don't think that we even talked about first look being a thing. I don't think that we knew that it was even a thing.
That's true.
So, I mean, I guess the more you know type of thing. Hindsight, but we did do a prayer beforehand, which I did love that. But I wish that we could have seen each other beforehand for a multitude of reasons.
The nerves.
I talk about this in our wedding experience guide a little bit, but I feel like personally, I really wanted Alex to cry when I walked down the aisle. Like, I had all of these dreams for such a long time of when I'm going to get married, I'm going to watch my groom bawl his eyes out while I'm walking down the aisle. That's all I wanted. And did I get that?
Nope.
He didn't shed a tear. Not a tear.
And we've talked about this. I was in front of hundreds of people.
Yeah.
I will cry if I have to cry.
He's cried in front of me multiple times.
But
had we have been alone,
I probably would have cried.
And that breaks my heart. Like, I'm going to cry just thinking about that. I could have had that and I didn't. The pressure was it was too much. And I feel like that happens to a lot of guys is like, as a wedding photographer, the doors are about to open. The bride's about to walk down. I myself, as the wedding photographer, along with everybody else in the congregation, for the most part, turns to look for the reaction. And I feel like that's where the pressure is set because everyone wants to see the reaction.
They want to see tears flow.
Yeah. And it happens sometimes.
It happens more than you think. And a lot of times, sometimes unexpectedly.
Yeah. And it happens also with, even if you do a first look, because that's a monumental moment for anyone, whether you've done the first look or not.
Right.
So anyway, if we would have done a first look, I feel like it would have been so much more special.
And we would have actually had time by ourselves. We literally didn't get a second alone.
Yeah.
The entire day. And
this is a little extra thing, but I absolutely hate the photos of me walking down the aisle. I look awful because I'm sobbing so uncontrollably. I'm not smiling. I'm ugly crying. And when I'm not exaggerating, guys. There's not one single photo of me smiling walking down the aisle.
You look beautiful.
Oh, thanks. I'm squinting and ugly crying because I'm walking down the aisle.
And being pissed off that her husband's not crying.
I would have not done that if I would have seen him before because I wasn't even crying because I was happy about getting married. I had so much anxiety that everyone was looking at me and all I wanted to do was stand next to Alex So I tried to stay focused on him, but I was crying so much. I was literally having an anxiety attack walking down the aisle. So I feel like it would have not been that way. I would have not felt that way if we did a first look.
There's
all
nothing
the
wrong
nerves
with
would've-
not doing a first look, because sometimes that's just what they want.
You have to do it based on your relationship and, what best fits you guys in your day.
And if you have crippling anxiety.
Like me. Like, I just needed to see him, which I thought the prayer would have been enough, but it wasn't. So yeah. What's our next one? What's something we did right?
What's something I did right?
Okay. He had one task, literally. Like I asked his advice like on multiple things throughout the wedding stuff. But he only had one request.
Live band.
Yep.
And
Best
we did.
decision.
Unfortunately, though, it was their retirement gig. And we found that out after we booked them.
Yeah.
But it was literally the best. And not only that, it's also friends of ours. Mm-hmm. So most of them were already going to be there anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we want a live band. But not only did we have a live band, but for the spots between sets, we also had a DJ.
Yes. Which was a really good decision.
And he was a hype DJ and got everybody to stay up on the dance floor.
Yeah.
And got people involved. We did the dollar dance, and he would actually go to tables and hustle people for money if they weren't going to get up and dance.
Yeah. It was.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah. It was really fun. That was really fun. I'm trying to think of like what else.
The venue?
The
How do you
reception?
feel about the reception hall? It served its purpose, and it wasn't ugly.
I mean, it was fine. It was for where we were at in our lives. It was suitable.
We were mostly on budget because that was the most expensive part of
Yeah.
catering and venue.
Yeah. The food actually was really delicious.
Food was good.
The food was good.
I know something else we did right. Very right.
What? The cake?
Cake.
Yeah,
Well,
except
the fact that it was so right
that we didn't get any
of it.
And I don't even like cake, guys. If you know me, you know I don't like wedding cake. I don't like birthday cake. I don't like cake. I will eat a chocolate cake if it's chocolate with chocolate icing, with chocolate fudge in the middle, all the chocolate. I will eat that. But even then, I just want a small slice. But we got a wedding cake from a wedding vendor who's actually still
Right down the street.
It's
if
Bebe
you're familiar
Liz.
with this area that we're at in our studio,
Bebe Liz.
it's right next to Starbucks.
Yeah. She's phenomenal. She still does wedding cakes. I highly recommend. We hired her for our wedding cake, and I think we did a 2-tier wedding cake.
3-tier. We had 3-tier.
Was it 3-tier?
Because we had chocolate, we had vanilla with strawberry, and we had cookies and cream.
Cookies and cream on the top.
And we cut from the top of the cake.
Yeah, Alex wanted the cookies and cream. But we also didn't know about the whole like save the top layer thing.
Nobody told us about it.
So we could have totally done that. We didn't do that.
I'd have had the
And that
whole
would have
cookies and cream.
that would have eliminated the issue that I'm about to talk about. Is we cut the cake, we feed each other. That's the only cake that we get throughout the night because catering takes it to cut it, and then it gets put back out for our guests. And while we're walking around tables, everyone ate it. It was gone. I never got a piece of wedding cake. I never got one. And it makes me actually sad because I liked that cake.
It was delicious. We should just order a small cookies and cream.
We should do it for our anniversary this year.
I gotta wait till November?
Maybe for Valentine's Day?
Okay.
Okay.
It's a long time to go without having that cake.
Oh gosh.
I mean, I've
Maybe I'll
gone
do it
this
for your
long
birthday.
anyway. Didn't we?
Because your birthday's coming up.
Didn't we book a wedding that hired her recently?
For this year?
Yeah.
I think so.
I'm so excited about that.
We don't ever really
There's only one other place that I've like fallen in love with their cake. Other than Bebe Liz, nothing but cakes.
Dude, they're so good.
Our last wedding of 2020, which is a great way to end 2020, had nothing but cakes. And since they had to limit their size, they had a whole lot of
extra?
extras. So we were leaving, and they kept telling us, have all you want. And we had some during the reception.
I had one during the reception. Alex probably had more than that.
I had a couple. We went to the car, and I'm like, I didn't get any bundt cakes to leave. So I went back in and grabbed like 5.
Oh my God.
There were so many still left, and the reception was almost over.
No shame in your game. No
Not with
shame.
nothing but cakes.
That's so funny. I'm trying to think if there's like, I'm sure that there's more that we didn't do.
Oh, did I tell you about like, so to save money, we had our friend DJ and our friend's band play, which they're both phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, we would have gone somewhere else. But since I was DJing weddings at the time, that doesn't mean I knew anything about the industry, because I did not. I went and brought my gear in, like lighting and stuff.
Oh yeah, you set up the morning of the wedding, right?
The morning of the wedding, I went in and did that, which is fine.
That's
it's
right.
fine.
Yeah.
But I got there, and the space was not set up properly. They were not putting tables where they were supposed to go.
I don't know if I knew that.
Pam was there. Our good family friend Pam was there. She was setting up. And
we had her as our unofficial wedding coordinator.
Yeah. And she was at the venue setting up, decorating, and everything. And I said, Pam, I got to leave to get to the church. Can you make sure this table is not here? Because this is not where it should be. And it was blocking the walkway to walk in, and it was bad.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That was just a little nitpicky
Good for you.
thing.
Way to go, groom.
But I'm like, yep, this isn't going to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a little stupid thing, but always have somebody, a coordinator or somebody that can like be your advocate for the day.
Yeah, your go-to person.
Not just to keep things on track, but like be your advocate. If something goes wrong, they will fix it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good thing.
We did have that. That's another good thing.
Yeah.
We did have quite a bit of good things. We actually got married. That was a great thing.
So our wedding day was great. It was our wedding day. Like, I love it. Regardless of the fact that we made these mistakes, we still put a lot of time, effort, thought into what we were doing, whether they were silly or not. Your family helped me plan, and I am forever grateful for that. They knew more than me, obviously.
They'd already planned 2 other ones.
Yeah. I didn't take it upon myself to research what I wanted, the things and the potential that it could have been. It fell short because I didn't educate myself on it. And I didn't know what I wanted, and I didn't know what to look for. But I feel like now there are so many resources out there.
And I think this is a good way to wrap things up too. And I feel like most of the people that watch this are probably in the industry. Mm-hmm. And that is where we come in. That is where that is our time to shine and say, from our professional opinion, having been part of hundreds of weddings,
been there, done that, literally.
We know what works. We know what doesn't work. This is what would work well for you. Mm-hmm. And this is what maybe you should try to avoid. We actually, we have that discussion a lot with couples.
Yeah.
And it's like, if they say something about maybe, I don't know. It happens a lot with video, because
I don't know. It just, for some reason, video seems to be an afterthought. Like, we want to make sure we have an amazing photographer, and then maybe if there's budget left, we'll hire video. And I joke about this, even though it's not really a joke, like, not to knock down like my job, but video is almost just a little more important, I think.
Yes, you can have pictures that are timeless and all that. Mm-hmm. There are some amazing photographers that can make a picture look like you're there. Like, you can feel it. Yeah. You look at the picture and you feel like you're in that photo.
Yeah.
But there's just something that photos can't do. And that is actually show a moment as it happened, with audio, all of the things.
Yeah. It's powerful. And that is like something that we talk about with our couples a lot.
Especially if they're on the fence.
If they're on the fence, we're like, hey, like, we are willing to work with you to make sure if there is something that's important to you, you want to make sure it's captured accurately. Like, we'll work with them to make sure that they can add video in, work around the budget, do whatever we can, because we get it. We know that it's so important. We ourselves made the mistake of not doing it. And I never want any of our clients to feel the regret that we felt not having video. It's devastating.
Exactly. Or even hiring a professional photographer, because we have had people that have come back to us and said, well, I think can you just do an engagement session, because I think my uncle or whatever is going to do photos for us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we come back and say, well,
are you sure?
We did that and we severely regret it.
Yeah. And you know, your friend, your family member, they may be very good at their job, but it's sometimes better to have an outsider.
Yes.
Take care of all of that stuff for you. Now, it is also important that the person that you choose knows the dynamics of your family. They know you. They know what's important to you. But unless they are in the industry actively, currently, they do this often, I would steer away from it, because there's so much more that goes into photographing a wedding and doing video for a wedding than just showing up the day of and clicking a button.
Right.
And like kind of what Alex was saying, there are photographers out there that make your photos look like you were actually there. And it's moments like that that need to be captured. That's why you're spending the money that you are, that may have not otherwise happened if you just hired a hobbyist.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep. I don't think we have any photos that really speak to me.
Yeah.
In any way, really.
Yeah. None, I would say none of ours really are like, oh, wow, I know how I felt in that photo type of thing.
And even if they are an active professional, do they fit the vibe you want? Mm-hmm. There's so many. I mean, it's an art. All art is different.
Right.
There are styles that are similar, but I didn't know that when we got married.
I went into it with a mindset of, we need a photographer. I just want to get it done. Like, I didn't know that. It sounds so naive and so silly, but I didn't know that I wanted these photos. Like, I didn't know that these photos were going to be something that I needed to have for the rest of my life. Does that even make sense? I know that sounds crazy. I know logistically and logically speaking, I'm going to have those photos forever, but that didn't resonate with me, that the way that they looked would be how they looked forever. Right. And I can't redo it. That's
a great way to say it. So for people that are watching this that are planning a wedding, people that are watching this that are watching or listening, I keep saying watching because there's a camera sitting in front of me. Yeah. So if you're not watching this on YouTube, there is a camera sitting in front of me. But for industry professionals that are watching this, for people that are planning their own wedding, mm-hmm. What do you think the takeaway from this is? Educate. I thought you were going to answer that. Educate.
I'm like, what?
Educate. Whether it be educate yourself or find people that can help educate you, or as a industry professional, because that's what we are. We are professionals.
Yeah.
There's a reason we are doing what we're doing, and we continue to do what we do. Mm-hmm. Educate your clients. Educate your potential clients. Educate your followers.
Yeah.
So that everybody can have a beautiful wedding.
Yeah. I love that. Very well said.
And with that said, do you have anything else to add?
I think that's it. I want to say again that I have no overall big regrets, obviously, of our wedding day. I married you, and that's all that matters. We had photos. That's all that matters. You know, like the big picture type of stuff, I'm thankful and I'm blessed that we were able to have the things that we had. Now, with that being said, we will do a vow renewal so we can do it right.
Yep.
And that's it. But anyway, thank you guys
Thanks for sticking around this whole rant about our wedding.
Yeah, that was fun to reminisce. I'm sure we missed some things, but that's okay.
Feel free to share, comment if you're on YouTube. download our podcast, follow it, whatever, on all the spaces.
Yep.
And we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.